Civil War! Gah! Yes! There is going to be Civil War in Captain America 3. We're all really excited about it. I'm really excited about it. I know you guys are too. Now, if you're looking for a more general discussion of the topics about how this will affect the Marvel Cinematic Universe and that, there is going to be a video coming up soon where I'm talking to Hybrid about that. So if you see an annotation pop up in the video, that means it's finished. If not, come back in a day or two. It'll be there for you. But for right now, let's talk about what side all the different Avengers are going to pick. Will they go with Team Stark? Will they go with Captain America? What side will all the different Avengers choose? But first, as a disclaimer, most of us already know about what the Civil War is and why it starts, but in case anyone doesn't, this thing called the Superhero Registration Act is introduced, which requires all superheroes to reveal their secret identities, which isn't as much of a big deal for the Marvel movies because everyone already knows who everyone is. Only a couple don't. But there's a second part which they'll probably lean much more heavily on, which is all superheroes must also be registered with the government and become actual, agents and workers for the government. And that issue, whether you oppose or support that legislation, split the Marvel Cinematic Universe in half, with Tony Stark and all of his supporters in favor of that, and Captain America and all of his supporters opposing it. So what side will different characters pick in the MCU when this movie comes out? Well, these are my guesses. Feel free to put yours down below. And let's start with the biggest gun in the Avengers, Hulk. Now, there's actually a really good chance that Hulk won't even be in this movie because a lot of the rumors are saying that Age of Ultron will end with Hulk being shot into space. And if that's true, he won't even be there for this Captain America 3 Civil War movie because he'll be off doing either a Planet Hulk movie or he'll be meeting up with Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever. So he might not even be there. But if he is there, which side do you think he's going to pick? I actually think he will pick Team Captain. Because Bruce Banner has been chased around by the government for years and years and years and years. He doesn't trust them. He probably never will trust them. And the only reason he really helped them out in the Avengers is because they made it clear that they really weren't interested in the Hulk. They were interested in him, Bruce Banner, the scientist, in helping them out. So I think when push comes to shove and they try to force him to be a worker for the government with the Superhero Legislation Act, he will say no, and he will team up with Captain America, and the bromance between him and Stark will be split right down the middle. Thor, I believe, will be with Team Stark, because Thor, despite his whole rebellious, headstrong beginnings, he is very much pro-authority. He has never openly opposed his father. In sort of subtle, discreet ways he has, but for the most part, he stays loyal to his father Odin, and he obeys what his father says, even when his father is being a bit of a jerk, like in Thor 2, and is totally wrong. He's still respectful of that authority, and for the most part is submitting to his authority. So it would follow then that he would also be willing to submit to the authority of the Superhero Legislation Act and work for the government. So I think he will definitely end up on Team Stark. Black Widow. For me, Black Widow will end up in Team Captain, because in Winter Soldier, when she learned about how Hydra had infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D., she said, maybe I just traded in the KGB for Hydra. So clearly, she's pretty much done with working for government. She doesn't like it anymore. She was disillusioned with the KGB, then she was disillusioned with S.H.I.E.L.D. There's no way she's going to want to go into another government-run organization at this point. Definitely not. And the whole revealing of secret identities thing is not going to be an issue for her, because she already did that at the end of Captain America 2. Plus, she really does not like Tony Stark at all, but she does kind of like Steve Rogers. So really, I just could not imagine her on Team Stark. I just don't think that would ever happen. Nick Fury. Ooh, this one's a lot harder to gauge, but in the end, I think he'll also go Team Captain. Because yes, he was the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., which shows that he's kind of pro-authority, but he quit S.H.I.E.L.D. and he went dark and he disappeared into the shadows at the end of Winter Soldier, and the Registration Act would mean that he is now forced to come out of the shadows, and Fury will not be found unless he wants to be found. And despite his being the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., we did see during that he was still not the type to just blindly follow authority. He refused to nuke New York City during Loki's invasion in Avengers, and he even bazookaed a fighter jet to try to stop it. So he's not the kind to just follow orders. So I think he would totally be up for giving the middle finger to the government in opposing the Superhero Registration Act and siding with Captain America. Hawkeye. Yeah, I might get a bit of hate for this, but I think he'll probably go with Team Stark because apart from them wanting to also drive a wedge between Hawkeye and Black Widow to sort of show how divisive this issue is, also, I think he'll go with Tony Stark because we haven't really seen him do anything that really shows that he's willing to oppose authority in any way yet. Probably in the comics and the cartoons he has, but in the movies, so far we haven't, not like we have with Nick Fury. I mean, maybe in Age of Ultron it'll be a different case, we'll have to wait and see. But as for right now, Hawkeye seems to be the kind of guy that follows orders no matter what. So I think he will end with Team Stark and support the Superhero Registration Act. Rhodey. This one's a no-brainer. Team Stark all the way. Not just because he's friends with Tony Stark, not just because he is part of the military, but in Iron Man 2, we also saw him testifying in front of whatever that committee was, that he does believe that Iron Man should be folded in and incorporated in with a branch of the military, which is basically what the Registration Act is. So I don't think he'll have any hesitation in supporting that legislation and siding with Tony Stark, because that's kind of what he's wanted all along. Another no-brainer is the Winter Soldier. He'll definitely be with Team Captain, because obviously he's besties with Captain, and he has just come out of being completely controlled for years and years and years by Hydra. So having now only just earned his freedom from that and just come out from that, he's not going to be okay with now going right back into another government agency that is pretty much controlling him again. No, I think we'll see Winter Soldier and Captain America standing side by side, fighting Tony Stark. Falcon. I actually think that Falcon is going to jump ship and go over to Team Stark. Why? I mean, sure, he was, good friends with Captain in Winter Soldier, but I foresee a situation where if Captain America is going after to save sort of Bucky and to bring him back, no doubt Captain is going to want to protect Bucky from having his identity revealed by the Registration Act, because then everyone will know that he was the Winter Soldier and he might be locked up for some of the crimes he committed or whatever. So Captain America will be wanting to keep his identity secret to protect his old friend. And you know what? Falcon might not be okay with that. Falcon might be like, hey, I know he's your friend, I know he was brainwashed, but still, he's dangerous, he could snap at any moment. He needs to be monitored. And that could be like a falling out between Falcon and Captain America, causing him to switch sides to Tony Stark. And their friendship, I reckon, will be torn apart. So there's still others that I haven't mentioned, like maybe Ant-Man, maybe the old and the new Ant-Man will be involved. Maybe Doctor Strange will be involved at that point, we don't know. So put in the comments where you think they might fall, if they're involved. And tell me, which team are you on? Would you be siding with Tony Stark or would you be siding with Captain America? So put in the comments which side you would pick. And until next time, I'll see you later.